Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of NAUI Talks. This week, we're going to have a really interesting conversation with David Winford, who Angelo, our very own NAUI business development person, is going to be introducing and having a dialogue with him. We're going to be running this series every 2 weeks and have different speakers all the time. So please pass along any ideas that you have that we can try to incorporate. All of it's to make all of our dive centers, all of our instructors better and more profitable, and we're there for you. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass the meeting over to Angelo to take it from there.
Thanks, Bill. Hello, everyone out there, and welcome to today's Zoom presentation on the 5 steps to more profit. For the ones who haven't met me yet, my name's Angelo Fiore, and I'm the sales director for NAUI Worldwide for North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. I'll be the moderator today. We have this thing kind of set up to where it's going to be an interview process where David and I will collaborate back and forth, and I'll ask some questions and David will interject or kind of just interact with us. I work with the executive team down at NAUI. I'm excited to be hosting this session today. I'm pleased to introduce today's guest, David Winford. David's a business development expert. He focused on helping business owners create independent and profitable businesses. He has an extensive business background ranging from author, speaker, board of director officer, business strategist, marketing and sales coach, and overall trusted advisor to corporations, professional association, franchises, and independent business owners throughout North America and the Pacific Rim, and Europe as well. I've had the opportunity to work with David on different projects. I believe in his unique ability to think outside the box. His rare talent to communicate sophisticated business strategies in a simple way will be an asset to the NAUI membership. Today, he's going to share some of his insights into doubling your profits. One of the things that I can attest to is David and I have a long history together, but before I started working for NAUI Worldwide, when I left the military, I had the opportunity to open up my own stores, have my own charter boat business, things of that nature. I had the opportunity to work with David back in 1998, 1999. Under David's tutelage and mentorship, I was able to take my stores from $300,000 annually. Within 18 months, I was grossing over $1 million. So the stuff works. So if you would like more information on David's background, you can pick him up on the LinkedIn address, and I'll put that into the chat room here in a little bit. But before I start the interview with David, I have a few housekeeping items to cover about the presentation and the Zoom platform. First, today's Zoom will be available on demand after the live session, and it's accessible through the member area. We'll also add some attachments in there, and they'll be available as well. The slide deck that you'll view today will be available. So you can kind of review back to it periodically. It'll also be included with the blogs and posts and upcoming webinars. You can also find that in the member area. Next, we'd love to hear from you during today's presentation. If you have questions for our speaker, please feel free to send it through the chat room there. Madison and Bill will both be monitoring it. We'll be able to answer all the questions by the end of the session. If we don't get to your questions during today's seminar or webinar, we'll be sure to follow up afterwards. Also, NAUI and David have created a special bonus challenge for everyone who is attending today's webinar. I'll share that exciting opportunity with you at the end of the webinar. And last, we'd like to encourage you to share today's webinar with your social networks. You can use the social sharing icons at the top right of your player to post the webinar and today's directly to your Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get after it. Welcome, David.
All right, man. Thanks, Ange. I really appreciate all the kind words. Also, I'd like to thank NAUI for the opportunity to be a guest speaker. And of course, hello to all your members. I'm excited to share my point of view on building a business that works for you guys.
All right, so I'm going to ask David a series of questions with different strategies to help all of us double our profits. Before I get into the questions, David, would you share with us your overall point of view in building a profitable business?
Yeah, absolutely. I come from the Michael Gerber School of Small Business Thinking. One of the fundamental ideas I learned while working for Michael has to do with the fatal assumption made by all technicians who go into business for themselves. One that charts the course of a business from the grand opening to the liquidation the moment it's made. And that assumption is, if you understand the technical work of a business, you understand a business that does that technical work. And the reason it's fatal is that it just isn't true. In fact, it's the root cause of most small business failures. So the technical work of a business and a business that does that technical work are two totally different things. But the technician who starts a business fails to see this. To the technician suffering from that entrepreneurial seizure, a business is not a business, but a place to go to work. So the carpenter or the electrician, painter becomes a contractor. The musician opens up a music store. The scuba instructor opens up a dive shop. All of them believing that by understanding the technical work of the business, they are immediately and imminently qualified to run a business that does that kind of work. And it's simply not true. In fact, rather than being their greatest single asset, knowing the technical work of their business becomes the greatest single liability. Now, if the technician didn't know how to do the technical work of the business, he or she would have to learn how to do that and get it done. They would have to be forced to learn how to work on their business rather than to do the work themselves. As a result of that fatal assumption, an entrepreneurial dream turns into the technician's nightmare. So today, it's my goal to help your members to see a different point of view, one that will allow them to build a business that works for them. I'm going to give them an insight into thinking strategically about their business, so they'll have the freedom to work in their business or completely free of it. It will be their choice. Also, please, keep in mind that the success of an interview like this depends totally on each of you taking action. Information without application is worthless. People, please just don't listen and watch this interview, jot down some notes and do nothing with the information. After the interview, take a few moments, to create a plan, an action plan, and then apply that action plan to your business. I really want to challenge each of you to schedule an hour a day to think strategically about your business. I promise you it will pay off. All right, Ange, whenever you're ready, we'll get after the first question.
Okay, so I work with a lot of NAUI members and business owners, helping them to improve on generating more leads and making sure their marketing efforts produce results. If you ask our members and any small business owner what they need most in their business, you get the same two answers every time: more customers, more revenue. But here's the problem. What does it take to produce more customers and more revenue? And how can you do it consistently? So David, how do we solve these challenges?
Well, Ange, these are great questions. So let's dive right in and give your members some cutting edge information they can use in their business today. You mentioned the two top hot button issues we constantly hear when speaking with small business owners: customers and revenue. So let's simplify this somewhat and focus first on customers. First, you must generate leads, and then you must convert those leads into customers. By breaking down that end result into leads and conversions, you can now put together a strategic plan of action to attain the end result, which is more customers. As for the revenue, once you generate the leads and then convert those leads into clients, those clients will pay you a specific price for what you sell. And the price you charge should always be based on the value you provide. So price and value are the first two components in the revenue equation, but it just doesn't stop there.
All right, so what's next?
Well, if you have expenses to pay and those expenses come directly out of the revenue that you just generated, so the next revenue component to consider is your margin. How much of that revenue do you actually get to put into your pocket? But you're still not done. If your customer only buys from you one time, you're right back where you started. Now you need to generate a new batch of leads and convert them to clients. It really does become like a never-ending cycle when we do it that way.
All right, so that sounds about right. Certainly frustrating to a lot of business owners. Can they do anything about that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So what if we could compel your clients and customers or your customers to increase the number of transactions they complete year after year? Instead of a one and done, as we say, what if we could increase the number of times they buy from you? Think about it like this. If you could find a way to get just 25% of your current customers to buy 5 times from you every year instead of just once, your total annual revenue would double. But most small business owners focus solely on generating more leads instead of finding ways to get their current customers to spend more money with them. But here's what every small business owner needs to know and understand. I know we all hear about it. We've all heard it before. It's known as the 80-20 rule. And here's how it applies to small business owners. 20% of what small business owners do every day actually produces 80% of their total revenue. In other words, there are only a few things that generate the vast majority of revenue we make each day. Now, over the years of working with business owners, we have discovered what makes up that 20% that all of us should focus on exclusively.
So it's very indicative of the diving industry. I understand exactly what you're saying right there. You know, we in the diving industry have an issue with it. It's not just a NAUI issue. It's a industry-wide issue that within our organizations, we are very big and heavy on open water classes where we flatten out on the continuing education. So let me ask you this, David. Everyone, if you don't have a pen and a pencil ready right now, you might want to grab something and write some of these things down.
Okay. So here we go. What we're going to talk about today are these 5 critical areas that every small business owner must focus on in order to build a multi-million-dollar business. Leads, conversions, transactions, pricing, profit. Let me use some specific numbers to illustrate exactly the importance of these 5 areas. In order for you to double your profits and create exponential growth, you have to start with a baseline. That means you have to know your current numbers in each of these critical areas. So you first need to work out exactly where your numbers are right now. And once you have them, you can work out what you need to do to double those profits and make sure that you spend your time doing what you should be doing. So let me give you an example of a baseline. And I'll start with the leads. All right, so let's say your current baseline is 1,000 leads per year. Your conversion rate is 25%, meaning 1 of every 4 people in you sit in front of agrees to buy from you. So that means you convert 250 of those 1,000 leads into customers. Let's assume your number of annual transactions per year or per customer equals 10. So each of your 250 customers buys what you sell 10 times every year. Let's further assume your average price is $100. So your 250 customers are buying a $100 product or service from you 10 times a year, which equals a total annual revenue of $250,000. However, you have to subtract out all of your expenses, including the rent, the mortgage, salaries, marketing, cost of goods, and so on. Taking all of these into account, let's assume your profit margin is 25%. So of the $250,000 in sales, you're only left with a profit of $62,500. The goal now is to find a way to increase each of these 5 critical metric areas of your business.
All right, so David, you're saying that instead of living in a constant state of overwhelm, as most business owners seem to do, these 5 areas can actually have a tremendous impact on their business.
Exactly. Let me show you what I mean. Again, let's start with leads, right? Do you know that there are 20 separate and distinct strategies that can dramatically increase your leads? And they're all field tested and proven to work. I've been doing it for 23 years and it's been done this way for many more years past that. All right.
Can you give us one of them?
Yeah, sure. One of the most effective and powerful ways to generate the leads today is through, a targeted direct mail campaign. Now, a campaign means multiple mailings, since a single mailing seldom produces the positive result. Unfortunately, most small business, owners never attempt a direct mail campaign because of the expense, because of the expenses involved. However, if they know that one new customer brings $100 10 times a year, then you'll make $1,000 for each customer you generate. Suppose you decided to test the direct marketing, direct mail. Let's say you elect the initial mail to 25,000 prospects. You can send direct mail today for around 60 cents each. So 25,000 prospects at 60 cents each means you'll invest about $15,000 in that mailing. Now, a typical 4% response rate, produces about 1,000 new leads. And if we stick with our original 25% closing rate, then you'll know you're going to get 250 customers who each bring you $1,000 of revenue for a total of $250,000. And if your profit margin is 25%, then your profit is $62,000, $62,500. So you've obviously made a substantial amount of money from this campaign. But consider this: one of the strategies I teach my clients allows them to execute this direct mail campaign to as many homeowners as they want to target, and do it all for free. All this strategy requires from the business owner is a minimum amount of their time.
You're kidding. That sounds too good to be true.
People say that a lot to me, Ange. They always say it's too good to be true. But again, marketing is an infinite subject, and we're only limited by our imagination and our experience. One of the great advantages of being a student of marketing across multiple industries is that I get to see solutions which are normally hidden to people who only operate in a single business model. Think about it for a moment. If you're a building contractor and you've been operating in that space for 25 years, how could you know all the ways that a dentist in Australia markets his business, or a car dealer in Japan? Experienced business coaches bring an outside perspective to their clients, and these fresh insights give their clients the ability to outperform the competition, and in most cases, completely dominate the market.
All right, so I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so Ange, what if I could show a business owner how they could double their number of leads using a network strategy, or how to implement a no-cost yet highly effective referral program, or how to set up a lucrative strategic endorsement partnership where other business owners sell your product or service on your behalf, or perhaps you would like to use a presentation strategy where you host an online presentation highlighting what you do using a webinar or teleseminar. And another way we could do that is set up a comprehensive internet marketing campaign using Facebook or LinkedIn. And these strategies are just a drop in the bucket when it comes to helping business owners generate all the leads their business can handle. But whichever one of these or more of these strategies they elect to use for their business, do you think most of your business owners could conservatively generate at least 10% more leads by using them?
Well, it certainly sounds reasonable. Can you apply this to an example that you just gave us?
Yeah. We'll stick to the leads there. So instead of generating 1,000 leads per year, which was our original number, would you say that conservatively, and I'm saying conservatively, you could easily generate 1,100 leads per year by using one of those strategies? That's just 100 extra leads a year, or 2 leads a week. And remember, that's just leads, not customers. So consider this example. Have you ever met a real estate agent? And when you ask them, what they do, they all say, "I sell real estate." That's not very compelling, is it? In fact, when a prospect hears that, they basically think, "So what? There's nothing there to make me want to engage with that agent." But real estate agents like to network. We all know that about real estate agents. So let's say an agent goes to networking events and proclaims to everyone that they meet that I sell real estate. Let's assume that for every 10 people that hear that agent say that, one person becomes interested and wants to talk with them about possibly selling their house. But now consider this. Instead of telling people that I sell real estate, suppose they said this: I help families buy homes larger than they thought they could afford. Or suppose they said this: I can sell any home for top dollar within 29 days, and if I don't, I'll sell that home for free. Now, Angelo, out of every 10 people that hear one of these statements, how many of them do you think might respond now?
So I would like to think anyone even remotely thinking about buying a home or selling a home would want to know more about that agent, though.
Of course they would, but let's stay conservative. Just say that 2 respond to them. They don't know anything else about it, but that all they know is that someone's going to sell their house or they'll do it for free. That's all they know about them. Okay. If just 2 people respond to that, that's 100% increase in leads, just from changing one sentence out of their mouth. So my question now is this: with 20 powerful and proven lead generation strategies available to help small business owners generate more leads, would you agree that a 10% increase in leads is ultra conservative figure to have?
Yeah, it's pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah. So that takes care of leads, right? So there's the lead section of the formula. Now let's tackle the second critical area, which is conversions. Your conversion rate is where a prospect becomes a customer or a client. Okay, they agree to buy what you sell. This simply means you found a way to compel their decision-making process, so they chose you over your competition. What if we could help you convert your leads and close the sale at a rate that's just 10% more than you're doing right now?
All right, give us an example of what a conversion rate is.
Okay. Okay. So what if I could teach you guys how to write powerful marketing and advertising copy, along with some persuasive sales scripts, and have you write all of them better than 95% of copywriters alive today? Then what if your copy was so compelling and persuasive that it would position your business as the only logical choice for the prospects to buy from?
You can do that?
Oh yeah. Not just that, suppose I could give you a strategy that would teach you how to add so much value to what you sell that you could charge even more than your competition charges, and your prospects wouldn't even think twice about paying that amount. And what if I could teach you how to completely eliminate any barriers to entry for your prospects, and how to create irresistible offers that practically force your prospects to buy from you? And perhaps most important, what if I could hand you an entire drip campaign for your prospects who don't initially buy from you?
Well, I mean, that's certainly impressive, but tell me about the drip campaign.
This is exciting. I love drip campaigns. Most people don't want to pay attention to drip campaigns, but they should. So a drip campaign is a series of follow-up communications, usually an email or a direct mail that continuously nurtures your prospects until they're finally ready to purchase from you, right? So did you know that typically prospects don't buy until they receive a minimum of 6 marketing messages from you? If you're in business today, are you currently sending out a minimum of 6 follow-up messages to your current prospects? If you're not, please, people, you got to recognize you're leaving a boatload of money on the table.
So I think that's a pretty interesting statement right there, because I think as sales guys or as, store owners or whatever, I think we're all pretty much in that mindset of like, we sent out the one, hey man, I sent out an email, or hey man, I gave a phone call, and it always turns out historically not to be enough. So that's pretty impressive that, you got to hit the person, 6, 7 times.
Yeah. The more times you hit them, that's why you want to create that drip campaign. So now the big question, with all these conversion strategies working for you, would you agree it should be easy to increase your conversion rate from our original 25% to perhaps, let's say, 35%? That's actually very easy to do. But as we did with the leads, let's keep, our numbers ultra conservative. Would you agree, Ange, that, conservatively, you would have no problem whatsoever increasing the conversion rate from, let's say, a meager 10%? Let's just say you go from 25% to 27.5%.
I mean, it's conservative, but almost too conservative.
I know. But let's use the lower number anyway. All right. I don't want to spook anybody. So now we're converting 27.5% of our 1,100 leads, which totals 302 clients. Remember, we started at only 250 customers, and now we're at 302. That's a big leap.
All right. So I'm looking at the slide right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, envisioning it. So tell me what's next.
Well, as you see the slides, as you see the formula, you're coming down the formula and you're saying, okay, so let's increase our number of transactions. Let's talk about transactions, right? So let's implement a series of strategies that, we can implement a series of strategies that will compel our clients to buy from us more often, right? So let me start with a real life example. Recently, I got my carpets in my home cleaned. I had the company just come over and clean 4 rooms, and I paid $160. And that was the end of the transaction. There was no process in place to try to get me to do more business with them and do it more often. All that crew chief said to me was this: if you have any other friends that need their carpets cleaned, please let me know. Well, as a business coach and strategist, I thought you fell short there. I was like, what? So, to be honest with everybody, I hadn't really cleaned my carpets in a long time. I'd be embarrassed to tell you, over 2 years, and they really needed it. So what do you think I might have done if he would have suggested to me that I should enroll in his gold program and he'd do them for me 3 times a year at some special price? Now, I'm going to get my carpets cleaned again, but it doesn't really, doesn't mean I'm going to choose this guy. In fact, truth be told, the only reason why I used him, over everyone else was that my wife found him on Groupon, found a Groupon on him. So I didn't know this guy from a hole in the wall. I didn't know his company from a hole in the wall. But now that I hired him, they had the opportunity to get me on the hook for 3 cleanings every year rather than, coming once every 2 years. And if using that strategy just got 1 in 3 people to sign up for that, then that company just doubled its business. It doubled its sales, I should say.
I got you, man. So,
yeah.
Let me ask you this. Give me another example.
Okay. Here's one for you. How about a florist? Most guys buy flowers, for their better half once a year, if that. I don't know how many. Not you, Ange, right? You buy Kathy a lot of flowers, right? Okay, so suppose we could teach a florist how to set up a continuity program called, let's call it the Lover of the Year, where a guy could come into a florist shop once a year and select a prearranged package of flowers, gifts, and cards, each targeting, a special date of the year for their better half. Valentine's Day, the birthday, Mother's Day, their anniversary, and perhaps, a special day, out of the blue, just thinking of you kind of day, right? So each package the guy selects will include a specific floral arrangement that fits each unique occasion. A special gift that, his wife will treasure or his lover will treasure forever. And a romantic card can, contain a special handwritten message. All of this can be chosen in about 20 minutes. Now, the florist will guarantee to deliver each arrangement on the appropriate date and send an email or a text to the guy that the day before each delivery so that they don't forget the occasion. That's the tough part for us, right? We forget the occasion sometimes. And to confirm that the delivery will be made, to confirm the delivery will be made on time. Now, the florist could also finance this entire cost of the program over 12 months and charge the guy's credit card a set amount each month to make this program really an affordable no-brainer for him. Now, guys love this because their entire year is planned out in advance, and they don't have to think to make their typical last-minute dash to the store to pick up something for some kind of special occasion. Now, here's where we all got to grab onto this thing. Now, realize that the florist just conditioned his client to buy from him 5 times per year instead of once. And do you think this guy will tell 4 or 5 of his friends about this unique program? Yeah. Of course he will. Did you know that the version of this strategy can be adapted to work for almost any business in any industry? I mean, I've used it in all kinds of different industries. I can show you how to implement this strategy for any business on the planet.
So, what's the impact then on our original business that we've been talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the baseline, looking at the baseline? Okay.
Yeah.
So looking at it right there, you can see. So look back at the original numbers. And again, we're going to try to remain ultra conservative because, again, I'm trying not to spook anybody because the numbers get crazy. So could we assume that it would be fairly simple if we use one of these strategies like I just shared with you to easily increase the original 10 visits each year to, again, just one more visit, 11 visits. That's an ultra conservative 10%. So now we have 302 clients paying us 11 times a year versus 10 times. And at $100 a visit, that's $332,000 instead of $302,000.
All right, so I'm starting to see where you're referring to this earlier as exponential growth.
Yeah, exactly. But now let's consider price. So we're going to keep moving our way down the formula here. What if I could help you implement a series of targeted strategies that would allow you to instantly increase your sales price with no effect whatsoever on your conversion ratio?
Okay, so let me see here. I'm looking, I'm thinking. All right, with no effect on the conversion. All right, you got my attention.
Yeah, of course. Of course I get your attention because you're saying, hey, as you see the numbers go down the chart, you're like going, wait a minute, this is a simple formula. Remember, we get back to the 80-20 rule where I'm saying to you, here are the 5 areas that you need to focus on. So think about this. Did you know that price is one of the least understood components when it comes to small business ownership? Let me explain this to you in very basic terms, and please pay very close attention to what I'm about to say to you, right? And you may remember back in the day we had this conversation, Andy, right? This is going to be a major revelation for your members. I remember it was a major revelation to you when we talked about it back in the day. Suppose you sell a product for $100 and your net profit on that product is 25%. That means that after you pay the rent, the salary, the commission, the cost of acquiring that product to resell it, the utilities, everything else that goes into your business, you get to put $25 of every $100 into your pocket. So what would happen if you increase that price by 10%? Do you realize that 10% is pure profit? Think about that for a moment. It's pure profit. Typically, there are no additional expenses that must be factored in to determine your net profit. In fact, your net profit just increased from $25 to $35. That means your profit on this one product just increased by a whopping 40%.
I mean, that makes sense, but if you increase your pricing really feasibly, most business owners I know lay awake in bed all night trying to figure ways to lower their prices. So how can they be more competitive?
Yeah, they do. Business owners do stay up late at night trying to figure out how they're going to make more money and if it's okay to raise their prices. So the question becomes, how can you increase your prices and get away with it, right? That's the question that we're always asking ourselves. I want to raise them, but how do I get away with it? There are two key methods here that will allow you to do that. And they go hand in hand with each other. The first is that you add more value. The easiest way to do that is through bundling. Now, bundling is where you take various products or services and you put them together to create a new, higher priced offering. Okay? So you see this, everyone sees this on infomercials all the time, right? They wow you with this versatility and convenience of the new wave oven. And then they add everything, including the kitchen sink, to create this perception of massive value. What you should be doing as a business owner is watching those infomercials. And when you see them on TV, you'll see that they all follow that exact same bundling formula, including, at the end, when they make their offer a complete no-brainer by deciding that they will sell you or send you 2 of their products for the same price offer as they offer for one. So it's basically a 2-for-1 kind of thing at the end of the commercial, right?
Yeah.
So you all have seen them, right? The George Foreman grill, the Nutrisystem, the Snuggie, what's the other one? The ShamWow. The list goes on. Turning on your TV late at night when you're thinking about your price increasing, right? But they also, use bundling to increase the perceived value, and they make a fortune doing it. So the other factor is to explain the reason why you're increasing your prices, to your customers. You just want to explain it to them. Hey, I had to increase my prices by 10% because of X, Y, and Z. More than not, they'll just let you get away with it. But what I really want to say here is that, the revelation of all, for all small business owners, but here's the real revelation for all small business owners, what I'm going to say, is that the easiest and fastest way to increase your prices is to increase your prices.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You heard it. You heard it right there. Simply just raise your prices by say 10%. And here's why. Most small businesses compete on price, right? I mean, you did back in your day. You were competing on price back in your day. So increasing their prices has never been, an option, much less a consideration. And that's because, they never really consider their facts when it comes to increasing the prices. So check it out. Let's say a business sells a widget for $100 with a profit margin of 30%. If they discount their price by just 10% to $90, they must now sell 50% more of those widgets just to get back to their original profit margin. Does any business out there, does any business owner today really think a measly 10% discount will generate 50% more sales? Most of them discount ranges from 25% to 30% to 50%. And then they wonder, why they're going broke.
So let me just stop you right there, because that's I know you're going to move on there, but the very frustrating thing about the scuba diving industry, this industry, is that you walk in and everybody puts the standard 10% student discount in there. Here's the 10%, here's the 10%, when in reality, just by putting that simple 10% discount in place is digging them into a hole that they don't see themselves digging themselves into. Yeah, you got it. You got it right. So flip it the other way. So you're talking about getting people to recognize, hey, the discount. And again, I don't like discounting personally, unless you really understand, because you got to think about it. You got to say, hey, if I'm discounting this, I've got to move more of my product or more of my services to get back to my original thing I was showing you. But watch what happens when we increase the prices. Let's say a business charges 10% more for that widget, right? That would make the price $110 instead of $100 or instead of $90, right? Now ask yourself this question: will that small increase really lead to a loss of customers? So that's where people bang their head at all the time. Small business owners bang their head at, oh, I'll lose my customers if I raise my prices, right? Well, probably not, unless your business is offering just basic commodities with, which many of your other competitors nearby are offering the exact same kind of thing. It's based on a low price. And then it becomes basically a convenience and not price that comes into play. But even if it does lead to customer attrition, to what extent? With a 10% price increase, the business is now making an additional $10, okay? All of which is profit, okay? And that's why we're in business, to make profit. So that's a 33% profit increase. For this business to make $1,000 in profit selling their widgets at $100 each, they would need to sell 33.3 widgets. But here's the secret. By increasing their price 10%, now they only need to sell 25 widgets. That means that just to break even, this business will have to lose 25% of its customers over a measly 10% increase. That just ain't going to happen. Right? So, but of course, hey, listen, got to put the rider in here. You always want to err on the side of caution and test the increase in small scales, to gauge the reaction of your customer base. But please trust me when I say that any customer attrition will be, minuscule. So increasing the price, the price of your business products or your services really results in an immediate increase in your revenue and profits. It's one of the easiest ways to look at your system on this formula. It's one of the easiest ways to really attack and start doubling your profits, is this particular area right here. Because most of you, if we would ask, Ange, your members right now, when's the last time they raised their prices? I don't know. What would you say? 10%, let's just go conservatively. Only 10% of them raised their prices in the last 2 years. Would be, probably would hit the mark. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I know store owners that haven't raised their prices in 5 years. Not a lot. I know manufacturers haven't raised their prices. But one of the things before we go on to this slide number 7 here,
Hmm.
when you talk about, so last a couple of weeks ago, through this, as Bill Doran mentioned earlier, we're starting a series of these NAUI talks to we're constantly
Hmm.
introducing topics. In the last topic, in the last segment, we did a Why NAUI presentation. And I hear you, what you're saying right here is bundling, creating value, doing things like that. And one of the topics that, to circle back to the last presentation that we talked about, that gives these NAUI stores, these NAUI members, an advantage over some of the other agencies that are out there, is that they have the ability to create these instructor specified specialties, programs that are so unique to their store that essentially their competition doesn't have the ability to teach these types of programs. So let me ask you this. You mentioned 5 areas of growth. What's
Hmm.
number 5?
Well, the last is profit, right? I mean, see it right there on the formula there. The last will be profit. Okay. So everything that we've just discussed is basically worthless if we're not making any money, if we're not making any profit on each and every sale we make. So, excuse me. So, I can teach you ways to slash your costs without affecting your day-to-day business operations. For example, I can show you how to use the art of barter to significantly reduce or completely eliminate many of your everyday expenses. I mean, hey, we all have accountants, we all have bookkeepers, we all have printing going on, we have advertising, we have office supplies, and other everyday business expenses that can be dramatically reduced or even eliminated by following, a barter strategy. So again, just thinking outside the box with those kinds of things becomes the deal. So, do you realize that you can, see huge increases in your profit margins just by properly identifying and then targeting the ideal customer? Now, this is one I always think is incredible. So this ties back to the 80-20 rule we discussed earlier. In this case, it refers to the fact that, 20% of your clients generate 80% of your total profit. So think about that. Again, 20% of your clients generate 80 of your total profits. So if you can replace the 80 of your low margin clients with more of the 20% high margin clients, right, you'll see your margins explode. Sometimes it's 16 times more, right? It's just a numbers game in all reality when it comes to that kind of thing. It really is understanding the formula. Another example, has to do with separating your business from your competition. You were talking about it a moment ago where you just gave the example of your last webinar. You guys were saying, hey, here's ways we can, create separation from one dot shop to another just by the way they package things, right? So think about this. You set yourself up apart from the others by creating and creating skyrocket profits by understanding what you're manufacturing, or what you're producing. So as an example, one of our clients used to manufacture more than 1,000 different types of ceramic tiles and accessories. He voluntarily discounted about 80% of his products. So, focusing his sales and development efforts on only those products that gave him a competitive edge. So again, getting back to your example you guys had last time. So you're given, NAUI worldwide is given the dot shop owner or their dot shop members an opportunity to create a special package or to be creative with creative and unique when it comes to how they're going to package their stuff that no other dot shop can do, right? So now you should be focusing in on that particular, those particular products, right? That 20% that will give you that competitive edge, right? So the rebirth of that particular client that I'm giving you an example of, it doubled his profit margins just because he got rid of 80% or discontinued 80% of those products and really zeroed in on the 20% that was making him the money.
So we have the standard scuba class out there that everybody teaches. You hear the $99 scuba class, $150 scuba class, so that's not where you're going to make your money. Your money is going to be in the instructor specified specialty, teaching the programs that are unique. So I understand what you were saying is that your client was selling the generic stuff just to sell the generic stuff, but he was capitalizing on his unique stuff, his unique products, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looking at it to be, what separates me from everybody else? oh, it's just, and it just, again, it's kind of funny how we look at how the world works. You know, that's why they came up with that, you know, basically that theory of the 80-20 rule. You know, it could be, you know, 70-30. There's always this mix. It's never even. You know, nature just doesn't do that to us. So, yeah, good point.
All right. All right. So that's amazing. That's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's kind of just, it's always good to hear it come from a different angle. So that's pretty amazing right there.
Yeah. So let's get back to the formula here and see how it really helps our baseline. So let's assume, you know, you implement one of these, you know, just one of these strategies that we just talked about. And keeping our numbers ultra conservative, let's say your profit margin increases just 10%. And so you go from 25% to just 27.5%. Right? We now go from our original profit figure of $62,500 up to $100,000. So now we have over $100,000 in profit. We've almost doubled our profits, which was our original goal at the beginning of this thing. So not too bad, right, Ange?
No, that's incredible. It's logical, but it's logical and it's also frightening.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that we're not talking about major changes here, right? And I know you know that because you've experienced yourself. It wasn't big jumps that we were making when you were, you know, getting ready to double and make more money in your own business when you had it back on the side, right? It was these small incremental changes, you know, that, you know, barely caused any kind of disruption in your current business. So, you know, in all reality, as you said at the start of this thing, you know, anybody can do it, right? Any business owner can do it.
So we have a lot of small business owners who are listening today. There's a lot of NAUI members. Some of them own facilities. Obviously, you know, professional educators. Is there some way that they can take advantage of the information that you passed out today?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my team and I have created a complete one-on-one business development program that can not only double or triple your profits, but can create exponential growth for any business starting today. So again, those things that I just share you today, if you guys go back home and look at that and say, okay, well, hey, what's my plan for the next week? You could use some of these things that we just talked about today. So it can happen today. So when you use all of our tools and resources and templates, along with our powerful one-on-one strategic coaching that we make available to you, you'll immediately begin to see results exactly like this I'm showing you in this formula here. And keep in mind, these revenues, you know, this revenue isn't just a one-time increase. This revenue, you know, you can generate it year after year as long as you diligently follow the strategies, right? And you look at your business from this particular formula, right? And you get your people that work for you to look at this formula and use this formula. You know, it's just not the owner's formula to hide in the secret, secret drawer or whatever. You should be letting all your people know and understand how to use this formula so they can help you get better at those areas.
All right, so let me play devil's advocate on this right here, because I know when you're talking, you know, I know that, you know, I know you personally. So I know that you work with, you know, outside entities. You work with Dunkin' Donuts. You've worked with, you know, Baskin Robbins, Togos. You've worked with some pretty high profile people. But due to a relationship that we have, you have worked with, as a love of the sport of diving, being the fact that you are a former U.S. Navy diver and that stuff, being the fact that you still have a love of the ocean and a love for scuba diving, you have worked with scuba diving stores in the United States, and you have had success stories, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I sure have.
So let me just stop right there. So because I just want to move on to something else, but let me play devil's advocate for just a minute. I think I know what most of our members are thinking right now. Can they actually prove to us in advance that this stuff works?
Oh yeah. See, you guys always want me to prove something, right? Yeah. Everybody wants something proven, right? So yes, that's a great, yeah, exactly. That's a great, I know. I remember back in the day, you said the same thing to me. It's kind of funny. Of course, right? In fact, you know, NAUI leadership, as you said earlier, has challenged me to help your members to increase their profit. So this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to meet that challenge. I'll prove to your members that this works by offering to put a large sum of money directly into their pocket, and I won't charge them a cent to do that. If any of your members will invest just 50 minutes of their time with me, I'll find them a minimum of $10,000 of extra profits hidden in their business. Absolutely guaranteed. Now, I know that sounds to be too good to be true, but I assure you that finding more than $10,000 for any small business owner is an easy day. In fact, when I do these 10K challenges, as I like to call them, I typically can find well north of $100,000 for them. But I don't like to scare people with that number. People just won't believe it sitting in their business. So I can do that. I do that because I've worked with thousands of business owners all over the world, and I've discovered that none of them are applying these very simple and easy business growth strategies that can unleash tens of thousands of dollars of hidden revenue in just minutes. So to everyone listening, listen, just give me 50 minutes of your time, and using just 3 or 4 of these growth strategies, I'll find you a minimum of $10,000 hidden in your business without spending a cent on extra marketing or advertising or labor. Is that proof enough for you, Mr. Fiore?
No. So I think it's like walking over to the sofa when you need extra money, and you go through the sofa cushions to find all those extra quarters and stuff in there. So I can appreciate that, and I guess it's an incredible offer, and that's one of the things that I wanted to, especially Dorn, that I want to drive home to everybody is we're in uncertain times. It's COVID. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We don't know if the governments are going to shut us down, shut the pools down, whatever it is. So it's a critical time for us. So that it's as a small business owner, you got to reiterate to people right now that we've got to dot our I's, cross our T's, because we've got to be extra diligent, pay attention to detail. So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible offer that you're giving us right here. It's an opportunity to work with the NAUI base. What's the catch?
Oh, there's always a catch, Mr. Fiore. You know that. There's always a catch, right? Because, I do want something in return for my time to do this. Now, here's the key. I'm currently writing another book, right, that documents the process I'm using to find more than $10,000 for small business owners. Now, my publishers asked me to get 12 additional case studies to place, in my book that officially documents my ability to find that type of money for any business in any industry. And listen, I want to be completely transparent here regarding this offer. The case studies I use in my book are going to enable me to get a ton of new clients for myself. There's no question. It's happened in my first book. So think about this for a minute. I go in and I find, let's say it's a daycare center, an additional $178,000 in profit that they could be put in their pocket every year, but they aren't. So Ange, I guarantee you every one of those strategies I use to find that daycare, that additional revenue will apply to every other daycare on the planet. So, look at the leverage that now gives me as a business development strategist. I can now call up any daycare anywhere in the world and tell them, I just met with one of your competitors, XYZ daycare, and in less than 50 minutes, I found them $178,000 in additional revenue for their business. I'm calling you because my initial research indicates I could produce similar or possibly better results for your daycare. And I would be interested in speaking with you about possibly profit sharing arrangement for your daycare. Could we schedule a brief 15-minute meeting and let me see if that type of revenue increase is possible for your daycare? Now, Ange, what do you think they're going to say? Talking about a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So, so every case I generate opens up, a whole new niche market for me to contact and to bring in new clients for my coaching practice. And that's why I'm offering it to the opportunity to your members. Not to mention I'm passionate about helping small business owners, and, I know they're the lifeblood of the economy and they get, very little, no credit for it. So, all I'm asking for your members in return for the service is that they allow me to use their results as a case study in my book. And this may also be important to your members. I don't have to use your name or the name of your business at all. I can simply list your profession and leave your name and your name of your business off. My main interest is to document your actual results. Nothing more than that, Ange.
All right, so I'm looking at some of the stuff here. All right, so for those who are interested, let me ask you this. So for those who are interested in our 10K challenge, do they need to meet with you in person?
No, I do this over phone. or like we're doing right here, and our Google Meetup. So no, I prefer doing it over the phone. In fact, this is the way I do it most of the time, is via phone. So it's totally convenient for those who would like to participate. Again, it's just 50 minutes. So, there it is. So again, if any of you are interested in putting an extra $10,000 more in your pocket for spending, less than 50 minutes speaking with me over the phone, I'm going to give it to you. Just call Angelo. Call Angelo by 4 p.m. today. So that way we don't keep it all day. Call him or email him. Right? He'll
shoot me the email, man. My phone will blow up.
Yeah. Hopefully, I want to help you guys. I mean, I know it's a big deal right now. You said it a moment ago. COVID's going on. I have my own clients. We're dealing with that. We dealt with PPP. We did it with all those kinds of things. And so, we're coming into another challenging issue. But what I want to challenge, and I hope today everybody's got it, is that here's a formula that you really zero in on that can really help you change. I mean, it's going to have a huge impact on your business. I'm old. I love John Wooden. You know what I'm saying? So John Wooden has this quote, says, a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything or do anything. I'm really trying to help it. Again, I will use it. Trust me, down the road, if once I find people that kind of money, I usually, able to call anybody anywhere, as I just said to you earlier. So, I'm hoping to change a life today, Ange. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I try to do every day. So that's that, man.
It's an incredible offer, and I think I'm going to I'll take you up. Obviously, I have the opportunity all the time to work with you and bounce some ideas off. So I'm pretty fortunate. But listening to you, thank you so much for being on the webinar today. I don't recall anyone that I've interviewed or been part of that's been, much more practical and with information in such a short time frame. I know it's like drinking. A lot of these guys are like drinking, water through the fire hose. But I can honestly, simply say that, when I first, got out of the Navy and I had that entrepreneurial seizure, that I decided to go on and, start my own stores and everything, I was overwhelmed, with laying awake at night, just like, I was, great diving background, but then all of a sudden, like, I had to learn real quick on the business side of things. And, I linked up with you, and I was fortunate enough to have you. And and within that short period of time, we took that store from zero to hero in less than 18 months. And it was such an incredible, it was such an incredible ride. It was fun. Because when you get that freedom back, I know that we always have the term, you become the prisoner of your business. And so, I know that when you start taking control of your business and making changes to your business to where things start to go, the way you want to dictate, you dictate the tempo, your business doesn't dictate your tempo. So, those long sleepless nights and everything, it was very refreshing, very rewarding, but more importantly, it reinstored the fun back into it. So that was, to me, was the most amazing thing. So we're going to open up. I've got Bill right there and Madison's right there. And so we're going to open up we'll take a couple questions if you don't mind. And then we'll let everybody kind of jet out of here.
Yeah. It's up to you, man. I'm on your clock.
Yep. Hi, David. I got 2 questions that are, one's on the chat and one's on the Q&As. They may be separate. You may want to handle them together. One is asking, have you ever tried or executed this idea in other places, for instance, Canada, Europe, Asia? And the other question is fairly similar, is does this work in a tourist client-based, and that particular person I know is on an island, so it's a bit of a different, unique thing.
Should we all? We should probably all be on
them together.
Yeah, let's have them together. They should. We may all want to be on an island, right? Okay. So the first question is, have I used it in other parts of the country or other parts of the world? Yes, because again, what I'm sharing with you guys is the basic formula of profit, of increasing your profit. So when you look at that formula, stop and think about, okay, if I just run as I said to you in the beginning, hey, you got to have your baseline. So today, take the moment to say, hey, what's my baseline of my company? So, what are the leads that I get every week? I like to go yearly because then you can look at it as a bigger number. But if you want to go smaller, you can do weekly. So you start with your leads, conversion ratio. I'm amazed at how many times I speak to business owners that don't understand the conversion ratio. They don't know it, right? And most of, as I shared with you before, most people want to deal with generating more leads, but that's the thing that costs us the most amount of money, is to generate a new lead. So usually when I go in and look at those kinds of things with prospects or clients, I usually look at the conversion ratio, right? So because they'll have some crazy number, like, let's just say it's 1,000 leads a year. I say, wow, that's a lot of leads. How many are you converting? And when they say, A, I don't know it, or B, I think my conversion ratio is only 10%. I'm like, wow, can you imagine what happens if we just increase your conversion ratio from 10% to 20%, right? It blows the doors off. And we didn't have to spend additional monies in marketing or advertising or anything like that. So they have it. You guys have it. So this formula works for every business anywhere in the world. Business is business, right? As I was saying to you earlier, that's what I learned from Michael, was that, the game of business is one thing, right? I may not be the best instructor or the best dive instructor or best tour guide, dive tour guide. I may not be that, but I'm one damn good business coach. And the two of us together looking at that, all of a sudden you have a great product. And that's what Ange and I did basically when he went off to do his thing, right? The two of us just came together and said, hey, let's work on this together. So I hope I answered that first question, Bill. Yes, the formula works everywhere. The second part you said on the island, give it to me again. On the island, will it work on tourist business? Will it work in a tourism?
Yeah, this particular one is they're on an island, so it's very difficult, and it's, unless people are coming as a tourist, it's like once a year kind of thing. Anybody that's on the island, getting them to come repeated would be very difficult.
Why? Why would it be difficult? If you have a beautiful island, a beautiful place, why would they not come back?
Well, it would be other people to get them to come back. Like, they would have, the way I'm seeing their question, they have two issues there. One is their immediate people getting them to come 10 times a year is not going to happen, but getting them to come back to the island is their bigger option.
Okay.
I'm just sort of here to give
so Winnie, let me answer that right there, because I think with that right there is by creating an experience, creating a word, it would be a referral process. So if you create a great atmosphere, yes, that person may come back. I mean, down at Sunset House with Keith Som, Keith used to have repeat like 10, 15 times. People would come back to the resort. But most importantly, those people would go out and become force multipliers for you.
Marketing for you.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So I think you have to look at it again. Sometimes we stick ourselves, in a box, or let's use the analogy here, the island. So we're on the island and we're thinking that, we don't really have that much we can impact. But if you look at the formula, there's a lot that you can impact. So for example, pricing, we talked about pricing. I don't know if you're on that island and you raise your fees in any kind of way. I hope you have. But if you haven't, you need to look at that and ask yourself, hey, can I get 10% more out of that? So there's that part of the pricing of the formula. There's, how do you team up with the hotels in the area? How do you team up with, other businesses in the area that says, hey, they bring in tourists. I can expose them to my diving company or my dive company. So I think you just got to get outside the box there. But again, I'm giving you a formula that allows you to zero in on that 20% that's going to make you the 80%. So I hope the island guy takes me up on the challenge, the 10K challenge. Bill, can you type that to him and say, hey, take the challenge?
Will do.
I'd love to get that. I don't know what island it is, but it sounds good to me. I'm in California. It's not too bad over here, but we're still in California. We're on the lockdown kind of stuff. So island would be good.
One thing
in Canada, any island sounds good.
Yeah.
The one thing I just want to put out there real quick and take a couple more questions, I hope we've answered everybody's questions, is that one of the things that always resonated with me was Michael Jordan, who was the greatest basketball player, and I don't care what anybody says, is still the greatest basketball player on the planet. But Michael Jordan, he had a coach, his own private coach, and his private coach's job. I mean, he could dunk over his coach. He could do anything he wanted to do to that coach. But at the end of the day, that coach's purpose was to keep Michael laser focused on what Michael wanted to achieve. So if Michael Jordan, that was the thing that always resonated, was if Michael Jordan, who could just go out and crush it, needed a coach, a mentor, then I think we all can benefit from having some type of a person who keeps us focused on our goal. I mean, I know I'm the kind of guy where I go chasing, I'm focused, and like squirrel, next thing you know, I'm chasing something else. So it's really good to have somebody who keeps you focused on what the goals are that you're setting to keep you moving towards that target, which is an awesome, which will help at the end of the day is more profitable.
Yeah, and that's what you guys are trying to do right now with NAUI stuff. That's what you're trying to do with these lectures that you guys are putting on, right? You're trying to show that, hey, here's a way you can tap in. You're part of an organization or you're part of a membership or community that really wants to see you succeed. So, tap into it. I hope they all tap into it.
It's all about ideas. It's all about gathering ideas. Like one idea, if you go to a seminar and you could pull one idea out of that seminar and take it back and implement it into your business, that one idea may be revolutionary to help push you a little bit into a positive, push you positively. I guess if what I can say now is that, I just wanted to redirect here because I know we've been on here for almost an hour, and I want to be respectful of people's times and stuff. But I just want to go ahead. If anybody has any questions, you guys can all hit me up on the email at afiore@naui.org. Madison, you can hit her up she's the one through the marketing department, and Bill is here as well. So you guys can just hit us up and we can redirect you if you so be want to be hooked up with David. At the very, I just want to take this moment right now. Again, David, thank you for the generous offer. I hope that everybody here takes advantage of some type of just consulting, some type of information gathering, because like I said, like we talked about already, we are going into some uncertain time. In the immortal words of Game of Thrones, winter is coming. So I hope that we get all this out to you guys, and I hope that everybody takes advantage of this, and hopefully we'll see everybody on the other side of this. And in the meantime, thanks again, David. Bill, I want to turn it back to you.
Okay.
Bill, you're on mute, bro.
I forgot I muted it for a sec. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I know I appreciate it, and we're just trying to bring out this new resource to everybody and help everybody build. So thank you, and remember, everybody, this recording will be available. For details, again, like Angela said, hit us up. We'll give you the link. It's all going to be there. Just one more resource, and I'm just from the discussions today, I wrote down a couple more ideas for NAUI Talks, but we're always looking for new ones. David, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
guys. Thank you.